universities and colleges with us. All three are, as the name says, located in New Jersey, but they all three offer very different kind of college experiences and opportunities, which we're going to kind of address today. So I'm going to start really easy and have each of them introduce who they are, the institution they work for, and kind of just a brief introduction of their school. So Jose, would you mind starting?
Sure. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us here. My name is Jose. I am an admissions counselor from Ramapo College of New Jersey. A little bit about Ramapo. We are located up in northern Bergen County. So we're about 30 miles north of New York City, but more importantly, we're 34 miles from Randolph. So, one of the things about our campus is our commitment to providing students with a small classroom environment with direct access to faculty members who are here to teach and mentor. Our student faculty ratio of 16:1 really allows our faculty members to get to know students very closely. Many times we hear our students that are graduating say, like they've majored in this professor because they've taken as many courses as they can with that one favorite professor. Average class size for Ramapo is about 21 students per class, but no more than 35 in any one class, and that's even in first year. So no lecture hall courses of any kind for students. We do offer over 100 majors, minors, and concentrations here at the college that you can choose from. We also have a number of 4+1 programs where you can get your bachelor's and master's degree from Ramapo in 5 years full time, as well as some joint programs in medicine and in law. So we have a variety of different things that you can do, including 3 programs where you can basically build your own major. So for those individuals that are looking to kind of take over the world of the arts and do, photography and video and animation and writing, you can actually pull all of those programs into one major that you build yourself. Outside of our academics, we have tons of things for you to get involved with on campus. We're a Division III school for all our athletic programs, but we also offer competitive club sports as well as sports club leagues that students can get involved with. I know in non-COVID times, I'm going to say we have a very vast study abroad program where students can basically travel to all 5, 6 continents. We don't hit Antarctica. That's the one we don't hit because it's really cold there, and penguins really are not engaging. So just throwing that out there. But we definitely work to provide our students with a campus environment that is welcoming and, more importantly, provides you with opportunities to really explore what you're interested in. Students can apply to Ramapo through Common App or Coalition App. All of our applications open on August 1st. And we have about a 65% acceptance rate for from our applicant pool. So we definitely pride ourselves in kind of looking at a variety of different metrics for admitting students to the campus. And we also have great opportunities for scholarships and institutional grants, as well as really thoroughly looking at your financial aid application. Application deadlines, depending on how you apply, our final application deadline is February 1st.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to Joanna from NJIT.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So hi, I am Joanna from New Jersey Institute of Technology. We are based in Newark, New Jersey. We're a STEM school. While we are known for our STEM programs, we do have a lot of different programs and schools within NJIT. We have a School of Management, College of Computing, College of Architecture and Design, College of Engineering, College of Science and Liberal Arts, as well as our own Honors College. Within the Honors College, there are 6 different accelerated programs, whether you're someone that's interested in maybe going to medical school or you want to be a lawyer one day. We do have a great partnerships with different universities to make sure that you could do a dual program if that's something you're interested in. We offer over 125 different programs, whether it's on the undergraduate or the graduate level. So again, if you're someone who's looking for kind of advancing through their education, you can definitely knock it all out while you're at NJIT. We are a Research 1 university, so that means that we are putting a high emphasis on the resources available for our students, whether you're an undergraduate student or a graduate student, to participate in research. We're only one of 3 universities in New Jersey that have this ranking. We are considered a medium-sized school, so last fall we enrolled about 8,000 undergraduate students. We tried to keep the student to faculty ratio as small as possible. Right now we're at about 17-to-1 ratio, about 25 students per class, regardless of whether you're a first year or you're in your senior year. There'll definitely be a range there, but you'll never see anything more than 80 students simply because we don't have the lecture space for something that large. The great thing about NJIT is you'll feel like you're on a smaller campus, but you'll have the resources of a really big school, which is really nice. As I mentioned before, we are located in Newark, so that's about 10 miles from New York City, and about 5 to 8 miles from other major cities like Hoboken and Jersey City, which opens up a lot of great opportunities for students to either do co-ops or internships in one of those major cities, as well as within Newark itself, you'll find a lot of these bigger companies that are located in New York are actually moving into Newark, which is great. And we're also really close to the airport, about 10 minutes away, which makes doing study abroad or maybe going away for a fun weekend really easy for students. Outside of the classroom, we do have over 140 different clubs and organizations for our students to participate in, as well as Greek life. We're a Division I athletic school, so we have 19 different athletic sports on campus. So if you're an athlete, we can definitely talk about how to get involved there. But we also have club and intramural sports for students who are looking for a less competitive athletic adventure during their college time. We do offer scholarships for all students that apply. You're automatically considered. And then we also do rolling admissions with a consideration of March 1st being kind of the deadline, but we do rolling admissions. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for taking some time to get to know about NJIT and all the other universities that are here today.
Thank you. And last but not least, Vanessa with Montclair.
Hi everyone, thank you for attending today. Again, my name is Vanessa Devrex for Montclair State University. I'm our lead admissions counselor, and about Montclair State University is about 35 minutes away from Randolph High School. We're technically located in 3 towns in 2 different counties. So Montclair State University is an urban environment. We have 21,000 students on campus, and we're considered a medium-sized institution nationally, but we are the 2nd largest in New Jersey. But with the 21,000 students on campus, 17,000 are undergraduates, and we do have around 5,500 students usually every year that do live within our 10 residence halls. And students that are going to classes here will see about 300 academic programs they could choose from. Those are the majors, minors, concentrations. We also have 39 dual degrees, so combined degree programs where you can receive your bachelor's and master's in those 5 years. So there's a lot of different academic programs you go into. In addition to this, we do have 120 clubs and organizations. We are Division III for athletic teams. So there's a lot you can do in student life, regardless if you're going to be commuting or living on campus. In addition to this, for Montclair State University, we're actually 12 miles away from New York City. So we do have our own train station on either end of our campus, as well as NJ Transit. So the bus services to nearby locations. And this is really nice, not only for students' convenience, but also for those that are looking for jobs or internships, as this is frequently done within students in their majors. So if you're interested into those going around the areas with NJ Transit, again, you'll be able to do so. But for students that are studying at Montclair State University, we do have study abroad programs in 60 different countries. They are a little bit on hold going to them right now during COVID-19, but we do have a big study abroad presence traditionally with different domestic programs, so you could study still in different schools within the United States, as well as internationally, and they were broken down by if you want to go by your academic program, if you want to go with faculty to learn certain experiences, or if you would like to experience a completely different culture, and just go to another country. So there's different options for study abroad, and again, for student involvement on campus. What's really nice about Montclair State University is that we're a very diverse campus. So we really pride ourselves in not only how many students that we have on our campus, we have every single person from the United States except for Idaho this year. We usually have 35 different countries for this incoming freshman class. We usually have 3,100 freshmen. So this will be 3,100 freshmen in a typical freshman class for our students. And we are on Common App this year. So every other year we'll be on our own application or Common App students can now apply from. We have been SAT, ACT optional for about 6 years now, so that'll still continue. And then when students apply, we've been very flexible through COVID-19 as we're holistic admissions. And when students do apply to Montclair State University, whether on our app or the Common App, we are rolling admission school, which means we go all the way until March 1st to submit your application. And this will allow for any kind of deadlines for programs. And we do look at scholarships for students that apply by our January 15th deadline. And there's different scholarship opportunities for New Jersey students that are high achieving and also have a rigorous curriculum, which we get into a little bit later. So I just want to thank you again for the introduction from Montclair State University.
Thank you. And for any of our viewers on here, if you're wondering why one major named university is not part of this panel, Rutgers was actually part of this morning's panel for the Big Ten. So if you missed that, that will be coming out by next week when I send you guys all of the videos at once instead of spamming you over the week with multiple videos. All right. So now we're going to kind of move on. All of them address a little bit kind of their campus, the locations, but to go into a little bit more detail, could you describe the feel on your campus? Is it a commuter campus? Is it a suitcase school? Maybe even a little bit of just what's there to do on campus, if there's things on the weekends and activities of the such. We're going to start backwards this time. So Vanessa, do you mind starting?
No, of course. So Montclair State University is very conveniently located. It's a suburban environment overlooking New York City, but we are right off Route 46 and Route 3. Again, being located in technically 2 different counties, we are highly accessible. So we do have a little bit more of a commuter population. So still just under 6,000 students live on campus, which is bigger than some schools. But we are going to see about a 60% for commuter students. But that does not mean that we are a suitcase school. We do love to call our commuter students resimuters because they do tend to pretty much stay all day on campus and stay involved. With Montclair State University, you could be involved as a commuter life. We actually have our own division for commuter life, so they have their own programming, they have their own weeks, so you could easily stay involved. And for resident students, even within your 10 different residence halls, you have resident hall associations. Over the 120 clubs and organizations, the students will receive 2 different emails, one called In the Loop and the other one called WHAM, or Weekends at Montclair. So students will always be able to know what kind of events, activities are on campus, what dates and when, in addition to seeing some of the big events on campus over the weekend. Students will also have what's called Engage in their student profile, so they'll be able to actually interact with all the clubs and organizations and get a feel of what they could join at Montclair State University. So those are different things that you could do as a commuter student or if you're going to be residing on campus. And I would say the feel of the campus here at Montclair State, again, is very friendly and welcoming. It is very diverse, but you do feel like you'll find your niche, or you feel like you really belong. And just either if you're going to be involved in academics or if you're going to be involved in the club and organization, we have something for everyone here. And it's very easy to find yourself and discover yourself at our university.
Wonderful. Jose, do you mind following that up?
Sure. So a little bit more about Ramapo's campus. We are located up in Mahwah, New Jersey. So it's a pretty suburban, kind of rural, it's suburban in the sense that we are right down the street from some major shopping areas, but rural enough where we are flanked on either side by 2 different horse farms. So we're kind of in that middle zone there between suburban and rural. But we're still about 15 minutes from Garden State Plaza down on Route 17 and 20 minutes from Woodbury Commons. So, and we have free shuttle services that bring our students to either one of those shopping locations, as well as some of the other major mall and shopping areas in the region. So definitely our campus is a very active campus, and it's also you do get a true sense of community on our campus. And similar to with Montclair, we definitely have a very welcoming environment where we celebrate the rich diversity of our student body. Right now, this year, we had about 10 different states represented in the entire first-year class. We have over 50 countries represented in our entire student body. So we really have a very diverse student body where students can meet other students from right down the street to right around the world. So definitely a great environment for students to really become global citizens. I would say about 50% of our student body traditionally lives on campus. So we're about a 50-50 school, but similar to what Vanessa mentioned, some of our most active students on campus are actually commuters. So we've seen that our commuters get really involved on campus, getting involved in all sorts of leadership positions. We also have a commuter caucus for our student government, as well as specific programming and events for our commuter students, particularly during midterms and finals weeks, where we kind of do a little extra for our commuters by providing them snack breaks and coffee breaks and stuff like that throughout the week, because sometimes you don't want to stop studying for that final to go stand online at Dunkin'. So we do have a Dunkin' Donuts on campus, which we're really proud of. It's the best part right now because even though we are all pretty much working remote, that Dunkin' is still open. And this semester, we actually have about 700 students living on campus. So for these students, even though a lot of our clubs and organizations have gone into a virtual mode for their members, we are still doing programming on campus for those students that are living on campus. In fact, after the last major snowfall that we had up here, we actually did a whole winter sledding event for our residential students where they got to slide. We got them sleds and whatnot, and they had a great time with hot chocolate and everything else. So we definitely do provide a lot of that for our students, and also giving our students opportunities to build their own activity. So whether that's starting a new club or even starting the process for establishing a new Greek organization on campus, we work with our students to have them make Ramapo their second home.
Perfect. And Joanna?
Hi. Okay, so very much as has already been mentioned, NJIT is also about a 50% commuter school, 50% students living on campus. Regardless of whether you're on campus or you're a commuter, I definitely agree with what has been said that our commuter base is definitely a very engaged group of students on campus. As mentioned at as the other universities, there are special organizations and just making sure that there's ways for those folks to also make sure that they're feeling involved and heard. The other great thing about our location, we are considered in kind of a University Heights bubble of Newark. So we're across the street from Rutgers Newark. We also have Essex County and Hudson County Community College right near us. So there's about 30,000 students in the area. So whether you're just interacting with NJIT students, you can also cross-register to take classes at Rutgers Newark. You're going to be meeting with a lot of different students, which makes it very exciting. Also, being in Newark, there is so much to do. It's actually insane. If you are into the arts, you can go to the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. If you are a big sports fanatic or you want to see a concert, we're about 10 minutes away from Prudential Center, so that's awesome. There's also the Newark Museum, which is beautiful, and I highly recommend going over there. We have Branch Brook Park if you just want a nice stroll. So Newark has so much to offer to people, and I feel like it's something that is kind of overseen sometimes. It is a very diverse location and it's growing immensely. We've seen tremendous growth even during the pandemic alone. So that's definitely something that makes us special. But yeah, I mean, again, as I feel like all schools definitely have the best resources to make sure that all students feel super involved and that they have a voice on campus. And I think that's super important. And NJIT definitely has all of those opportunities for our students to do the same.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so now this one has been a question that was submitted multiple times, so it is something that's on our juniors' mind. How has your review process for admissions really changed due to COVID? What are you looking for when you're reviewing an application to accept a student? This time we'll start with Joanna.
Sure, so NJIT moved towards SAT and ACT test optional. I think that is the biggest change that we've made. So now students who are applying, they don't necessarily need to submit those scores. If they want to, we'll definitely take a look and take them into consideration, but by no means are they going to hurt you. I think in terms of what we're looking for are strong math and science grades, as well as a pre-calculus if you're interested in any of our more STEM-like programs. We are a STEM school, so those should be the strongest on your transcript. But in terms of, looking at students holistically, that hasn't changed. We're still going to read your letters of recommendation. We're going to read your personal essay. We're going to see that, things are lining up and you're a very well-rounded student. But at the end of the day, checking to see that those math and science grades, that's going to be really important to us. But again, we are SAT, ACT test optional for this year as well as next year. So that's also very exciting for us to continue this process, and we'll see if this becomes more of a long-term thing or how it's going to change within the next few years.
Thank you. Vanessa?
Sure. So Montclair State University is what's called a holistic reviewer school. So this means that when you apply to Montclair State University, we're going to be looking at all of your admission documents, such as your transcript, your essay, recommendation letters, to inform us for a decision. But some changes that we did make for COVID-19, while we have been an SAT, ACT optional school, we were also very flexible with student essays. Now that we're on Common App, we did use Common App essays, and we were also very flexible with transcripts. So we were allowing students to upload their own unofficial transcript documents to help make those decisions a little bit faster. And also for some of the review processes for College of the Arts students, as they do another separate portfolio review, or the auditions did go for a portfolio instead of having to go to an in-person event. So we try to be as flexible as possible, and we're going to continue being flexible as possible for the next year. The only thing that might change would be for the transcripts, but once we do have that official policy, it would be announced before the application. So there's been no changes that would impact the student negatively. And students will also have an application portal with their counselors already listed in there. So if they did have a question or concern about one of their checklist items or about COVID-19 impacts, they're able to talk to our counselor. In addition, we know that with COVID-19, some schools did switch to a pass or fail, and that will never hurt a student. So again, we would look at the entire transcript for each year for the academic GPA and the academic trends of the student to inform a decision. So that also is something that you could rest assured it would not negatively impact your student.
Thank you. And lastly, Jose?
Sure. So for Ramapo, we too have a truly holistic review process for all applications. For us, while we do ask you for your GPA, we're also very interested to see what did you do to get your GPA. We look at the type of classes that you've taken. Sure, everybody has to take an English class and a math class and a history class, but we're looking to see how you've challenged yourself. So as we're looking through each individual course that you've taken, we're looking to see how many of these were honors courses or AP or dual enrollment courses or even IB if your school is an IB school. So we look at those kind of details to really understand what that GPA actually means, because that 3.5 can look very different based on the courses that you are taking. So we really take our time to deep dive into that transcript. We also recognize that students are not in a classroom 24/7, nor are students doing homework 24/7. I'm sorry to tell you, but the cat is out of the bag. We know that that's not true. So we're also looking to see what else are you doing with your time? How are you balancing academic and non-academic responsibilities? If we were live in a room, I would ask you to raise your hand if you play a sport or if you're part of a club or an honor society. If you have a part-time job, do you do community service? All of those things are things that are taking your time. So we also look to see how you're balancing those things. At the end of the day, like most colleges, we're going to look for a well-rounded student. However, we also remind students that we are an academic institution. So if you're involved in 100 things and you do 80,000 hours of community service and you have 2 part-time jobs and you're doing all of these great things, that's wonderful. But if that is taking away from your time to really excel academically, then that is not necessarily helping the application. So we really try to look for that balance. And we don't outline it as like, you have to have X, Y, and Z, because every student is going to have a very unique experience. So we really try to understand that uniqueness in the application. We recognize that in the last year and a half, things have not gone as they normally have. We have recognized that those students that are involved in athletics were not doing that probably in the last year and a half. If you had a part-time job, that too may have stopped. So, we recognize all of those things. So the other more important part of that application is going to be your college essay. We really give you the liberty of what you would like to write for that essay. We have prompts, but if you want to say, you know what, I want to go rogue and I'm just going to write what I want to write, that's perfectly fine, because your essay is supposed to be the thing, the one piece of your application that's going to tell us a lot more about who you are that we're not seeing in a transcript or a recommendation or a test score. We are also a test optional institution, and we proudly say we don't work for any one of these testing agencies. So if you have taken the SAT or the ACT and you look at that result and you're like, don't send it in. Don't tell us that you took it. It's not going to hurt you whether you do or whether you send it or not send it. There are exemptions to that, which is our joint programs are still going to require students to submit either SAT or ACT test scores due to how those programs were created. However, we also offer test optional options for those tracks. So if you are interested in one of the joint medical programs, we have a test optional version that's going to give you the same curriculum. It's just not giving you that guaranteed seat in that partnering medical school. Same thing with the law program. So we really try to make these things as easy as possible, because we recognize that students are dealing with a lot of things on their plate this year, more than ever before, with balancing kind of COVID and distant learning and whatnot. So we always try to make these things as easy as possible for students. And similar to Montclair, all students get a Ramapo portal for their application where they can check the status of their application. You're going to find contact information for the counselor assigned to you, and you'll get not only their email account, but they're also their text number. So you can feel free to text your admissions counselor at any time if you have any questions about your application.
Wonderful. So you did touch on this a little bit, Jose, about the college essay and what they should write, but we had our college essay speaker last week, so it did prompt a few questions specifically. One of them was, is it okay to write about an intended major and what developed that passion? And what really are you guys as admissions counselors reading this application looking for in the essay? And Jose, I don't know if you want to start, since you did already touch a little bit upon this.
Sure. I'm going to say, and I'm going to take liberty to say that probably all colleges are going to support me in this statement, that the one thing that we want to look on your essay is that there's no spelling or grammatical errors. We live in an age of Google Docs and Microsoft Word, so you should be utilizing those resources to make sure that there are no errors, and read through it, because sometimes the word might be spelled correctly, but it's not the version of that word that you really wanted to use. So we look for those things. But the reality is that your college essay is a story. It is the story of you. If you want to write about why you want to pursue, why you want to be an educator, a teacher, and share the experience that you had with a great teacher, and that's why you want to do, that's a great essay. But it really should be what you want to tell us about yourself. We have students that have sent us essays that talk about, they feel more comfortable writing about some kind of social issue that they're passionate about, and that's perfectly okay. So the only wrong thing with a college essay, in my opinion, is, again, those grammatical and spelling errors, but also, that you want to captivate, you want to share that story with the people that are reading it. You want to make sure that when they finish reading that, however long or short it is, that they really understand who you are, a little bit more about you outside of those transcripts. Rule of thumb, if you're typing it out, 1 page is a good length, right? A paragraph, probably a little too short, and it's not a dissertation, so definitely no more than 2 pages. If you're in the realm of 5 pages, you're going to want to edit that down a little bit, right? And really kind of boil it down to what it is that you want to say. But yeah, I think that's perfectly fine for students to write about an intended major, or writing about whatever they're passionate about, because it's going to just tell us more about who you are.
And I see a lot of nodding from Vanessa and Joanna. Do one of you want to add anything on to that?
I just want to add one thing on there. Pretty much agree completely with Jose with everything he said about the essay writing, but also pay attention to the essay prompts. So some schools may require a specific essay. I know from Montclair, and this happens every year, some of our programs in the School of Communications, like filmmaking, communication, media arts, which are really competitive and big, they require very specific prompts because they're going to go and get reviewed by faculty. And they're going to base the review on how well you write, why you want to be in that program as the basis of their admission. So some students don't pay attention and they actually don't finish the prompts, or they do a regular prompt and not the School of Communications prompts. So that can affect your decision to that program or delay admission to the program until the student completes it for their review. So rereading the prompts, rereading your essay, I'm sure too there might be counselor support to help students review or have college essay nights. Take advantage and start earlier. So I know sometimes end of junior year, early senior year, then we have senior essay writing or college prompts. I would take advantage and see what you could put down already. Especially for Common App too. I know there's different essay prompts they're provided. See what feels comfortable for you, and then pay attention to any specific college essay prompts they might want you to write about specifically.
And Joanna, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I completely agree with what has already been said. I think the other important point to just keep in the back of your mind is making sure you're updating the school name if you're putting that in the essay, because that is quite embarrassing. And we don't need it to be an embarrassing process. So definitely do all of that. Have someone else reread your essay. That's always a great kind of piece of advice in general. But at the end of the day, we really just want to see who you are, what you're all about. As Jose said, if you want to write about your intended major and what really drove you to pick that program, we're going to be really excited to read about that, because that's really showing who you are, what your plans are. And as long as it's a one-page succinct essay on who you are, what you're all about, or if you're deciding to pick one of the other topics, just put it all in, use spell check, use the right college name, and just trust your gut.
And to jump off all of that, your English teachers, either junior year or senior year, will gladly review your essays, as well as I am happy to read and review any essays. You guys can actually book appointments for me. Essay appointments are one of the options on my booking page. It's a quick 10-minute appointment. You just have to share your essay. I prefer Microsoft or Google Doc because then I can make notes right in it. And when we meet, it really can just be a review where you ask any questions that you may have on some of my notes and suggestions. So that is something that's available here at Randolph for those of you who are listening in. All right, so moving on. Part of this whole process is usually being able to visit campuses. First off, are you guys open for visits? Are you allowing juniors onto campus? And if for some reason students are unable to visit, if you are not offering visits, how else can they learn about your institution and really demonstrate to you that there's interest and not just kind of come out of nowhere and apply next fall out of the blue? Vanessa, do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. So Montclair State University, we did have just virtual tours earlier in the year, but we have started transitioning to in-person campus tours. But we are still following COVID-19 guidelines, so it is going to be very small compared to large tours we've had in the past with 100 people. That's not happening anymore. So it's still going to be only a few families. So you can only bring one other guest with you. So if you go to our website, you could just go to montclair.edu, visit us. You could actually register for a campus tour. Anytime that's in green is available. We do offer it twice a day on weekdays and then on Saturdays. So from 10 a.m. and then 1 p.m. So those are the in-person offerings. But we do also have still virtual campus tours. So this will be happening on a weekly basis, where it's going to be an interactive campus map with one of our current student ambassadors. And they're going to go over the campus. They're going to go over all the facilities and buildings. So this way you get a sense of campus if you're still not comfortable coming for an in-person tour. We also have a self-guided tour map. And we do have already pre-recorded videos of a campus tour. So this way you could get a great feel of what's going on campus and to kind of navigate yourself. In addition, for Montclair State University, we do have a prospective student webpage. So right there on the homepage, montclair.edu, you'll see right on the side, undergraduate admissions. It'll give student and family resources and prospective student resources. And my favorite part of the prospective student resources is that you have access to Red Hawk Talks and webinars. So some of them are for your interested major, if you want to learn a little bit more about it with either a current student or faculty members, as well as specific programs like teacher education, honors, and then for admitted students, we do have financial aid webinars and understanding your financial aid package. So it's really great that we try to incorporate every step of the application, every step of what you would want within a college. And these are all things that you could do directly from our website. All you would need to do is register for the event. So again, I would just browse our page. I'll give you all the in-person events and all the virtual events if you're still uncomfortable. And parents, you can also register yourself to receive our, let's say, bi-monthly communications about the school. So eventually you could get our Red Hawk Roundup with all the events on campus, as well as any new notifications about the school or university that's relevant to your student. So for example, students now would receive communications about opening plans for the fall as they get announced, orientation, just reminders about that. But for prospective students, you could also register yourself to get information about Montclair State University and then check out our prospective student links.
Thank you. Joanna?
So similar to how Montclair has been functioning, we also were primarily virtual. In about February, we opened up very small groups of on-campus tours, which we have continued to do. There's about 2 slots a day. So definitely, if that's something you're interested in, I highly recommend coming to campus. I definitely think, you know, regardless of the school, take advantage of the fact that schools are finally starting to open up and take that time to go out, because that's where you're really going to feel whether or not the school is a right fit for you. Online, we have a few different events going on. We do have the general virtual tours, which will be an information session with one of our admissions counselors, and then a virtual tour with one of our student ambassadors, which is really nice. We also have many open houses going on, so that those are more faculty led. And you'll get to learn more about the different colleges, whether it's the College of Engineering or the Honors College, any of the 6 that we offer. And then we're also offering major spotlight events. These are really focusing on within each college, the different programs that we offer. So, you know, we have 18 different undergraduate programs within the College of Engineering. So really getting to hear from the different faculty and some students as to what makes each of the programs a little bit different. And it's really helpful for students who are a little unsure of what they're really looking for. We're also running a campus series events, so really hearing from whether it's residence life or financial aid or study abroad or any of those major departments that we have on campus. They'll each have their own virtual events. So all of that is available on our website. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, but it's fully escaped my mind. And if I remember, I'll put it in the chat.
Wonderful. And Jose?
So we too have been hosting in-person small campus tours that are completely outdoors. So we actually are able to bring in tour guests into our athletic center to walk through the athletic center, our student center, and our residence hall. So you will get to see the inside of those buildings, but the tour for the most part is an outdoor tour. We run these tours Monday through Wednesday at 10 a.m. and at 1 p.m. We're going to be doing these campus tours through, I believe, till mid-May. So students can definitely register for any one of those tours. We also have been building up a lot of our online resources for students. So if students go to our Learn page, if you will, ramapo.edu/learn, there they can have a bunch of resources to help them as they're exploring Ramapo College, including information about brand new academic programs and minors that we've been launching, recordings of our webinars for prospective students. We do a feature called Tuesday Topics in the fall, where every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. we talk about different aspects of the college, and we've recorded all of those from the past fall, so those are posted on our Learn page where students can go back, and that covers everything from academic programs to financial aid to athletics, EOF, the whole gamut. For our admitted students, we do a Tuesday topic series that focuses a little bit more on information for admitted students. So now that you've been admitted to Ramapo, now we give you more detailed information about the academic process of your academic school and major. You'll be meeting with faculty members and the deans of the academic schools. You're going to learn a little bit more about financial aid with your now that you have your financial aid award letter. So we go over all of those things, and those two are recorded. So those are all great resources that we have for students. We also launched this year a video tour page. So if you can't make it to campus because for whatever reason, that's okay, because our website has a number of video tours of campus. We have a traditional walking tour of campus, a very popular skateboarding tour of campus where you get to follow one of our students and his day as he skateboards throughout the entire campus. You also have smaller tours of our business building, our science buildings, and our performing arts building. So there's a bunch of different things that you can find on our website. Over the summer, we are going to be doing campus tours Monday through Thursday, I believe, and we're looking to see if we're going to be able to offer 3 tours a day during those days.
And then Joanna, I see that you virtually raised your hand.
The second I muted myself, it came right back into my head. So I think another great way to get engaged with universities, whether you're visiting or not, is getting in touch with your representative for your high school. So that's pretty simple, at least for New Jersey Institute of Technology. We have on our website, on our contact page for admissions, all of the counselors and who is the rep for your county. So I think that's another great thing you can do, and it's a good practice to kind of get to know the counselor, because at the end of the day, that's going to be kind of your point of contact for any school. And you can set up a one-on-one with them. I've been doing a lot of those, and I'm sure Vanessa and Jose have also been having meetings with students over Zoom or Microsoft Teams to kind of get to know students. And it really makes it easy for us to put a face to the name. And again, it shows your interest and expresses that you really are interested in learning about the school, being admitted to the school, and learning about different opportunities that may arise. Because at the end of the day, that counselor can see something and be like, oh, so-and-so, we talked about this. Let me see if they're interested in this. So I think that's a really good thing to just do, regardless of whether we're fully in person or still in this like semi-virtual world next fall, to just start getting to know your counselors.
Wonderful. And I think that's great advice, because it helps with getting your answers your questions really answered. I said that completely backwards. Because yes, all the information's on the website, but sometimes you have to dig really hard, and a simple email, or if you know a counselor, giving them a call makes life much easier to get those answers. Okay, so quickly, can you guys speak to your career services offices and kind of the internships or co-op opportunities on campus? How many students maybe have internships while they're on campus? What type of process is it? Is there supports? Jose, do you want to start this one off?
I think you're muted, Jose.
Jose, you're muted.
Got it. Sorry about that. See, I was just making sure that everybody was paying attention. That's why. So we definitely have a lot of internship opportunities. Where we're located in the Mahwah area, it's home to a number of corporate offices, such as Sharp, Jaguar, Amazon, FedEx, Stryker. So all of these companies have a lot of different internship opportunities that they work with us for our students. Pretty much we have internship opportunities for every major. We don't necessarily assign you the internship. We actually ask our students, what do you want to get out of the internship, right? What do you see yourself doing with your degree? Because the student that is in our management program who wants to go into resort management is not going to necessarily benefit a lot from a management internship at the Gap. I mean, they're going to get great discounts and great clothing for the semester, but it's not what they see themselves doing with their degree. We much rather have those students look at the partnerships we have with different companies that have resort-style properties, Marriott, Hyatt, or even work with them to have them complete the Disney internship application. We've actually sent students over the course of the last 5 years to do internships at Walt Disney World, because if you want to do resort management, like, you should be learning from the best in the industry. And we do that with a lot of things. In the last 8 years, we've had a number of Ramapo graduates being hired directly with Google, which, if you know, Google is a really hard company to get hired for. So they're hiring our graduates and providing internship opportunities as well. So, we really want to tailor that experience to the students. We do have programs that require students to complete an internship, whether it's a 1-semester internship or all the way up to for a 2-year internship. So we really try to tailor those experiences to help our students really understand the fields that they're going into. We have about 300 employers that regularly visit campus. Even now, they're visiting virtually with our students, running workshops about the industry, but also interviewing students as well for positions, either as interns or as new hires once they're graduating. So we definitely do a lot of those things. All of our 5 academic schools have a Pathways program. This is a partnership between the Career Center at Ramapo College and that individual academic school, because we know that career readiness and career services is going to look very different for a humanities student versus a science student versus an arts student. So the Pathways programs really help students identify the skills that they're building within those academic fields, and also better understand the marketability of those skills, right? Because at the end of the day, employers are looking for not only diverse candidates, but also candidates that have diverse skills. So we pride ourselves in helping our students build those skills throughout the 4 years, as well as doing traditional things like resume building and cover letters and mock interviews, because you'd be surprised how many little things that they can find when they do a mock interview, and how many times students don't ever make eye contact with the person that's interviewing them. So we work with our students throughout that as early as first year to get them ready for those internships beginning the junior year.
Thank you. Vanessa?
Sure. So very similar to Ramapo, where Montclair State University has its own Center for Career Services. So this will be the main designation where, as a student, you can go to post for jobs, to look for jobs that other employers have posted on here. We also try to recruit other employers for our college and career fairs. So those career fairs typically happen at the end of every semester. So for fall and spring, typically, again, at the end of your junior year or early senior year, you'll be looking for those internships. In addition, each school within the university has its own designated career services office. So you're going to get more tailored information depending on your program, and you'll have those better services and internship opportunities related to your program or major. So this is really excellent that if you're going to be a College of the Arts student, you're going to have that information and career services director to help you get an internship or a program within those majors. Same thing with the School of Business. They have their own career fairs in addition to the colleges, and in their major, you are expected to complete credits already for an internship program for career readiness, resume building. So some are going to be built into the programs, whereas other majors, such as for science and mathematics, you'll have more of those field work experiences built into your program. So for some that you might need research in your fields, you will have to complete research with other partners that we have with the program, or you could be able to submit for a certain internship for a program to have it count for the credits there. So it's going to be very similar, and each program will have a different way of whether it's required near the end of your junior or senior year. And then in addition to that, you'll have each specific schools and colleges career services to help you prepare for your actual major and career later on. I do want to shout out too, just for students, because we have what's called an undeclared discovery program. So a lot of students, they're undeclared until their junior year, but for those students that are pre-majors and not sure what they want to do yet, we actually have this program where you're going to meet with our advisors, you're going to learn more about your major, but also what kind of careers are connected to your interests. So you're kind of getting information earlier on before you make a major commitment. So we are thinking about job preparation and careers early on. So that way, when you do apply for them in junior and senior, you're not going, oh yeah, I need a job before I graduate. You're already thinking ahead of time about what accomplishments you should put on your resume and how to get those internships and jobs.
Perfect. And Joanna?
So yeah, basically, as was already mentioned, we also have our career development services right on campus. They're, as any university, they're really there to support you and to help find those dream internships or dream full-time jobs throughout the process. This department is also very much available for our alumni. So I think that's also a great thing to talk about, that the support continues even after you're done at the university, which is amazing. Last year we placed about, or I guess 2 years ago, we placed over 1,700 internships and co-op opportunities for our students, which is incredible. We have about 500 companies that come every year for our career fairs, which we have every semester, which is really nice. Last semester, we had our first virtual one, which was really exciting. The students absolutely loved it because they were actually able to have a lot of one-on-one time with these employers instead of trying to talk amongst a large group. But you'd very much expect to see companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, Bristol Myers Squibb, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson. So we're really working with very, very experienced and big companies, and they constantly are coming back to us because they know that our students are well educated and they're ready to take on the challenges that the industry is going to be facing in the future. And I think that's a really great thing to see these big companies constantly returning to us and asking for more students because they know they're high quality students. And again, we also offer great opportunities even within the schools. I think it's either bi-weekly or every week, the deans of the colleges will send out opportunities for students to apply to, whether it's full-time jobs or internships. So you're hearing it directly from the people within the school, as well as within the career development services. And another great way to find these opportunities is through your network of colleagues, of friends, your professors. So no matter where you kind of getting this information, those doors are going to start opening. It's just a matter of putting yourself out there and really going to do the effort to find, the perfect fit for you. And I think that's really important, regardless of where you go, of getting into that mindset of, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it and really put yourself out there to achieve those goals.
Wonderful. All right, so we are almost at time. We have a few minutes left. I just got the 5-minute warning at the top that we're almost at 4. So I just want to end with, what's your favorite aspect of the institution you work at, whether it be a tradition or something about campus or the community, but you guys know this community. And so what is your favorite aspect? Vanessa?
Oh, I love Montclair. So I went here as an undergraduate, went here as a graduate, and I still work here. So Montclair definitely feels home. So I came from South Jersey and still live in Montclair now today. And I love that when I first came in I came in as a transfer, but I came and walked on campus. And everyone felt so friendly. They're like, oh, hi, do you know where you're going? Because I didn't have a tour. And you just feel very welcomed. And I think that aspect of our community here is one of the best and really makes your experiences memorable. That you could feel part of an organization, that you're going to see just the same kind of people as you here, different people, and everyone feels very engaged and friendly on campus, is something that I think is one of the best aspects, is that you're going to see so many different perspectives when you're on campus and everyone feels like they belong. And I think my other favorite part is that we have a lot of pride and traditions, and a lot of them focus on service and involvement, where we get together as a university and we do like volunteerism on sites within campus and off campus. We do like Montclair University Days, where we come together and kind of put good within our community. And I think that also kind of has everyone, get to meet other people maybe they wouldn't meet normally, and just be able to put some goodwill into the world around us. So I think that's one of the best aspects of Montclair State, is that you never have to feel like you're alone or feel like you can't discover who you are. So many opportunities to be involved, even in the littlest way. And I think that really carries forward when you're learning, and it's not just academics or clubs or organizations.
Perfect. Joanna?
I think the first thing that really intrigued me when I joined the admissions team here is seeing just how motivated our student body is. They're, when I talk to the student ambassadors, they're some of the smartest people I know, some of the most creative people who really have such a focus on what they want to accomplish during their time at NJIT, and they have their 5-year and the 10-year plans all lined up. And being around them, it just makes me feel like I want to also be as motivated to accomplish my goals. And you see that throughout the university, everyone is just supporting one another to achieve whatever they're hoping to achieve. Whether you're a professor helping a student or an upperclassman helping an underclassman, it's a really great community to be a part of because everyone wants the same thing in terms of getting there, and being able to help one another. And I think that's really special. And it's, we are a very motivated university in terms of having high set goals, but it's not competitive in the sense that, oh, if you want it, then I can't have it, or because I want it, you can't have it. We're going to work together to both accomplish something. I think that's really special. And that's something I definitely love about NJIT.
Wonderful. And Jose?
Ooh, this is a tough one. It's a tough one because, what Joanna and Vanessa have talked about their institutions and the things that really stand out for them are all the same things that are standing out to me. I too graduated from Ramapo a long time ago. I'm not going to go into the dates there, but it's definitely been a long time. But I've had the honor of being here at Ramapo long enough to have seen how amazing our campus continues to be and how student focused we are with every decision. Really giving students those opportunities to find a community here, a small community, because we still see it. I am still in touch with a lot of my faculty members, professors that were here teaching me, and it's a very interesting dynamic that we have here, where our students really find mentors in our faculty. They get to have their voices heard about the direction that their academic school goes to, what programs and resources they're going to be getting. So I think that sense of community for me is the thing that really sticks out for Ramapo, on top of everything else that everyone else talked about, which is like how engaged the student body is here, how focused they are, how open to, just be friendly. And we hear that a lot from our visitors when they say, like, you have some of the friendliest students we've ever seen. Like, they're always willing to help. But I will say that probably my number one thing that I love about being at Ramapo is that our Dunkin' Donuts is right next door to the admissions office, because that 3 o'clock Dunkin' is something that is really important on a long day. But overall, it's just that great sense of community that we have here at the college.
The key is if that Dunkin' is open late night as well during finals.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you to all three of you for coming out and participating. I saw that a few of you put stuff in the chat. Vanessa, feel free, if you have links to anything, to put it into the chat. It will be available for anyone who came into attendance after the fact as well. And as I said earlier, we are recording today's session, and I'm going to actually stop the recording now. And this